It's always going to be that constant comparison for siblings.
So do you think that in your dynamic, it's you and your sister from your mom and your dad, and that were raised together, just you and her? So do you think you being the youngest that you were treated differently, or do you think that Donise, your older sister, that she had different expectations of her than what your mom, for example, had of you?
I feel like, yes, I do feel like I was treated differently, but I feel like I was treated differently because my sibling is a female and I'm a male.
Welcome to This Beautiful Struggle.
I'm excited about it.
We finally have gotten to a point where we're just ready to share unfiltered our lives. Infertility is tough. Adoption is tough. But then even talking about like me losing my dad, you losing your mom within a couple of years of each other, our kids losing grandparents, your career and my career, and then making the ultimate decision to move to Nevada and what that looks like, moving away from all of your friends and family and all of those things.
Hopefully people can resonate with our story and just letting people know that they're not alone.
It's not the norm, and infertility is something that people don't ever want to talk about. Our family is such a hot mess, Express. I mean,
Yes,
this is just what it is, right? Like,
Yes.
we don't have to front anymore.
It's been a long time coming.
Welcome back to This Beautiful Struggle. I'm Erin.
And I'm KC.
And we are freshly back from Hawaii.
Yes.
It was an amazing time being gone away from children. Oh my God, it was so good.
And it was humid.
Oh my God, it was so humid. I will never go to Hawaii ever again in the summer.
It was extremely hot. Like, it was that humid where you just walk out of your room and then you like almost immediately start sweating. It was pretty bad. But I mean, you're in Hawaii, so you can't complain too much.
I think I realized when I was there how much water I do drink, because I do drink about a gallon of water a day, give or take, or like 120 ounces of water a day. And I think I struggled because getting to Hawaii, I was so hydrated. And then I felt like that hydration just went because I literally sweat it all off. And it was so like the moment, like even being in the baggage claim, I felt like at the airport, I was like, oh my God, it's so humid, because it felt like the air conditioning wasn't on, right? It just felt like this hot box of like whatever. And then we got out and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not as humid as what I thought. Then we got down to Waikiki where we stayed and I was like, oh, hell no. And walking a block or 2 blocks, so if any of you guys have been to Waikiki, you know, especially there, it's like the Strip of Las Vegas. It's literally so many different shopping, restaurant, hotels, you know, the beach, everything is right there, and you walk everywhere. I mean, we Ubered a couple of times just because I was like, we got to go from point A to point B, and I do not want like to be sweaty by the time we get there. So we did waste a lot of money in Ubers going like 0.3 of a mile.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was bad. It was like to the point where I was like, babe, can you see the sweat? Like, we went to Duke's, was one of my favorite restaurants. It's right on the beach, and you know, you sit outside because the beach is right there. And I was like, this is miserable. So outside of that,
Yeah.
I mean, the humidity was rough. So we usually go to Hawaii more in the fall, Thanksgiving time, October, December. Those are all months that we usually go, not in the peak season. And so I guess maybe we haven't experienced, I don't think I've ever been, other than this time, I've ever been to Hawaii in the summer. So I know enough to know, 1, I can't wait to go back, but 2, we will not be going back in June, July, or August. So, yeah. All right, so today we are going to jump into this fun topic. We were talking about this earlier this week, and I was like, this would be a fun podcast topic, but we were talking about really the dynamics of the patterns in which you have your children, right? Like, I was talking, you know, anyone who knows me knows I'm a middle child. Definitely, I'm someone who believes that middle child syndrome is a thing. If you're not a middle child, you might not feel that way. You might think it's all psychological or, you know, whatever that be. But I am someone who feels very strongly that middle child syndrome is definitely a thing. And even if we don't want to call it the syndrome, I will say that middle children are treated differently than their other siblings. But I think, you know, having these conversations with like other mom friends, as we talk about, like, do you want more kids? Are you going to have more kids? What is the right number of kids to have? I think, there's just a lot of conversation. There's different dynamics to different conversations. You know what I mean when it comes to.
Right. Right. I feel like every child is treated differently, regardless if they're the first, middle, or the youngest. And I just feel like it's kind of almost impossible to treat every child the same because one, they're a boy or a girl, so you're going to treat them different based on their gender. And then two, their age. So those are the two huge factors that's going to determine how you treat your child and how all of those children are going to be treated. And all kids do is compare each other to mom and dad, or mom did this for you, mom didn't do this for you, dad did this for you, dad didn't do this for you. Well, I'm older. Well, I'm younger. So it's always going to be that constant comparison for siblings.
So do you think that in your dynamic, it's you and your sister from your mom and your dad, and that were raised together, just you and her? So do you think, you being the youngest, that you were treated differently, or do you think that Donise, your older sister, that she had different expectations of her than what your mom, for example, had of you?
I feel like, yes, I do feel like I was treated differently, but I feel like I was treated differently because my sibling is a female and I'm a male. So I think we were more treated differently based off our gender and not our age. Because other than that, I mean, I don't really see any difference. But
Well, treated different in what way? When you said treated different.
So I feel like there were probably times where, because I'm a male, once I got older, I was probably allowed to go places or do things that my sister wasn't allowed to do because she was a female. And my mom was probably a little bit more protective of her than she was of me. So things like that, I think, probably benefited me. But there were some things that I think probably benefited my sister. Like, my sister probably benefited more in mom was way more open to buying her clothing and other like cosmetic things like that because they're both female. So they have that connection, that bond on things like that I didn't really benefit from. And I grew up in a single parent household, no father, so I didn't have a dad to necessarily do those kind of male bonding things with. So I feel like I was kind of treated differently in that area as well.
That's an interesting. I'd never even thought about that like that. Even with you being in the single, being raised by your mother and her being a single parent, and her having that relationship difference with Donnie's, her being female. We're high maintenance raising girls even now. Like, holy crap, there is so much money that you spend on. And then when girls get to that, Kaylin is at that age right now. Actually, Savannah, what I will say is Savannah's 9, almost 10. And she is definitely at that age where she is very just, oh my goodness, can you take me to Ulta? Can we go to Target? Because Sephora's there and I need to get some stuff. And it's like, you're not even stepping foot into Sephora, like in Target. Like, you can go in and you can see, but we're not going past those little barriers because everything in that area is $20 or more. And I'm sorry, 9-year-old, but there is nothing that you need in that area. But I do think that, you get to that point where, we've taught our girls to be confident and, but Savannah always wants to have lipstick on. If we let her, she'd wear mascara and a full face of makeup, even though she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
But
she's always asking me if her lips look good or if her face looks good. So it's funny, but she's very conscious about the way that she looks especially when she puts on stuff. So
she'll be like, how do my lips look?
Yes,
I'll be like,
highly important to her.
You missed a whole section down here, but instead you have lip gloss all the way up here, and that color does not look good on you. So maybe, I don't care what you say, I look cute. I'm like, okay, you go out there with that extra set of lips up here and no lip gloss down here, but go ahead, girl, rock that confidence. But yeah, I mean, I guess I do see that. I know people ask us all the time, "Are you guys done?" Well, one, it would be a miracle if I was able to get pregnant. So if we were to have any more children, it would be by way of adoption. And I would love. I mean, okay, I'm 43, and I do really like my life and my quality of life. So, would I do I want more kids? Sure. But do I really want more kids? No. Right? Like, I think at the end of the day, and then I tell KC, like, if we were to have, or if we were to have one more kid, we would have to have two more children because I refuse for there to be one in the middle. And I feel like when you have four, you have two in the middle. And so, right? That's how it works when you have four, right? You would have two in the middle.
Yeah.
Because there's no true middle child. So I think it would be a lot harder for two kids to be treated differently. I don't know. Maybe if you're a mom of four, or if you have siblings and you're in the middle, and there's four of you guys weigh in on this. But I think for me, like, I always wanted four kids. Though before we got married, you knew that I wanted four children, right?
I don't remember. You might
Yeah.
have said that.
Yeah, I always wanted four, but I mean, I'm happy with our two. I will say that I'm very, very happy. But
See, that presents a whole nother problem. Four kids. How big is our house?
so many
What?
of our friends have four kids,
What?
and their house is smaller than ours. Their houses. It's not like you have to have some big old mansion. Kids share rooms.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. How big is our house?
How
Go
big
ahead.
is our house? How big is our bank account?
Yes, that is the bigger question.
And just, if you, it's like starting over. Do you really want to start over with a newborn infant and changing diapers and crying and how needy? Like, our kids are already super needy now.
I think we just need some boys. But the nice thing about adopting is we don't have to adopt a newborn, right? I would take a 5-year-old, throw a 5-year-old into the mix. I think if we were throw any kid into the mix, the kid would need to be school age because it's hard enough trying to homeschool Savannah, right? And then have now a toddler, right? Like I'm far past that. I enjoy going out, not having to get a babysitter, you know what I mean? But if we have a 5 or 6-year-old, okay, let me just put a disclaimer. I am not saying and advocating that we should have more children. This is not the goal of this conversation right here. But I'm just saying if we were, I would think very differently. Now, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, oh, yes, let's have a baby. Let's get a newborn baby. I want a boy, XYZ, because I always wanted boys. I didn't want girls. And I think a lot of that was because I am one of 3 girls in my family. And girls are just drama. And I love Kaylin and Savannah. But there's a lot of drama that it's like, suck it up. A lot of crying, a lot of like.
A lot of crying.
I don't know.
Every day.
I was a tomboy. So, I probably cried too. And, I have ADD and, all of these things that now we see our kids struggle with. But the reality is, I don't remember crying so much. But maybe I did. I don't know. I have no clue. But
I don't think you did. Our kids are a special breed.
oh my gosh, I mean, it is. Whew, you'd be like, okay, we're going to put a tally up on the wall for how many times you guys shed a tear in a day.
I wanted boys too, but also think it's cool being a girl dad. I kind of like it
No,
because
good for you. I wanted to be a boy mom.
yeah, I just like the thought of this is my daughter and kind of being that protector of her and being able to kind of guide her and steer her in the right direction when it comes time for her to get introduced to boys. Because I know she's 13 now, and I'm sure she's at that age where boys start going from, I don't like boys, to, oh, he's cute.
Oh, we were there 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I'm saying, when it comes time for when it's like serious, like interactions with boys, for me to be able to kind of guide her, give her advice on this is the kind of traits that you should be looking for in a potential mate, and these are the traits that you need to stay away from.
So what age is that? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I think maybe me and you need to talk about that to see
Well,
what age were we.
No, I'm asking you. what age do you think you want to start having those conversations with your daughter? Because this is a father-daughter conversation. I already have these conversations with Caitlin.
Well, but you have them. But I'm talking about serious.
I know.
This middle age. This is not serious. I'm talking about like a serious relationship, like when you're seriously dating someone. So that wouldn't be till now. I'm not talking about, oh, this is my boyfriend this week, and then next week this is my boyfriend that week, and then you know how middle school they make up and break up 2 or 3 times a week. So that's not really serious.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure because you had said, you know, guys are looking at her, and the reality is guys are looking at her.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she's getting proposed to at school and all kind of things, and we're like, okay. So anyway, so back to me wanting boys, right? I realize we're done. That chapter is closed, a parenthood for us, but we were talking about like the 4-parent, you know what I mean, or the 4 siblings. Like, so here's my question: when there's 4 siblings, is there a middle child? There's middle children, right?
Technically, I guess the 2 in the middle, the 2, the oldest, second oldest is in the middle, third oldest, and then the fourth, which is the youngest. But the second and third, I would assume those would be the middle children.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 kids on the opposite ends of them.
See, and I think that's the thing. I think in my family, we just needed one more. And in some instances, there was one more because I do remember growing up, and my mom was a probation officer, and there was a girl, Ebony, who went through, she was like a big sister to us, but she wasn't raised with us, so it was never a full dynamic of us being 4 kids in the house. I think it's funny because when I look at my own family and I look at the way that I was raised and brought up, I definitely can realize that my older sister, probably had it the worst because I think in nowadays or even back then when we were kids, and I think it's the same now, is your first child you expect to set the tone, you know what I mean, for
You have the highest standards for the first
and
child.
expectations for that child. And I can almost understand or feel bad for my older sister who, you know, probably had a lot of pressure to perform in certain areas. And I do feel like for my older sister, I mean, she was the straight A, loved to go to church, loved, you know what I mean? All of the, like, we're a lot different. And then I came along, like, she is the one who, like, I don't know, maybe she got in trouble and I didn't see it as much, but I definitely was the problem kid. At least I felt that way. You know, I came in,
I'm sure you were.
I was not a straight A student. I was more A's and B's. I wasn't 4.0. I was, you know, B on a roll. And I rebelled quite a bit. And so, you know, I probably tested the waters more than any other kid. And so I think that contributes to the way that I felt like I was treated differently, honestly. And then by the time my little sister came along, oh my God, I don't know if my parents were just exhausted from me or if they were just exhausted from 2, you know, but it was like, here, babe, you just can have whatever you want. You could just do whatever you want. We're just going to give you the world. There's nothing that you can do wrong at all because, you know, you're the baby. And I still see that. I mean, I think about even just the ways we treat. I baby the heck out of Savannah. She's not.
I think as parents, you get beat up when you're that brand new parent. You're very headstrong. I want my kid to do this, very structured, and then you have that first kid, and you just get wore down, and you go through the trials and tribulations of being that first time parent. Then you get your second one, and then you get wore down even more. Now you got 2 kids, and just the stress of that. By the time that third one comes, you're just like, just do whatever you want. I don't even care anymore. Just go. I'm still stressed and tired from the first 2 kids. Like, way lenient on the third kid than you are the first and the second one. And then also, that youngest one might get more because as you progress in your life, your parents, they might be progressing in their careers too, which means they could be in a
That's true.
better financial situation to actually provide a little bit more. So that first was like, well, I didn't get that when I was a kid, and the parents was like, well, no, you didn't, but we make more money now because we've gotten promoted and we've become more stable in our career now, and we're in a better financial position to provide more than when we first had you. When we first had you, we were struggling. We couldn't afford the things that we can afford 6, 7, 8 years later down the line when your little sister or little brother comes along. So I think that has a big part of it to do with it as well.
Yeah, I mean that can definitely be a factor. I know that in the age of hand-me-downs, we have done away with hand-me-downs in our family because we kept. I mean, and I think
Depends on what it is, though.
well, but yeah, and I think most parents do. And you know what I mean? You have a child, you know you're going to have more children. You don't know if that child's going to be a girl or boy, obviously, but you hold on to things, right? Or maybe, even now, like you have multiple kids and, you buy your oldest something and you're like, take good care of that because your sister's also going to wear that. Savannah used to be very much like every time we would put something on Savannah that used to be Kaylin's, Kaylin would go, that used to be mine. And then Savannah would be like, I don't want it then.
Yeah.
And so now we've learned, like, there are certain things. I don't keep clothes anymore, though. Like, there's just no point because, styles change, trends change, and all of those things. But
I'm just not a big fan of hand-me-downs, especially for kids.
why
And,
not?
well, because I feel like just for the reason what you said with Savannah, she was just like, well, I don't want to wear this. This is Caitlin old stuff. Why she get new stuff and then I get all the old hand me down? Like I can understand how as a kid you like, I don't know. I don't want to wear Caitlin's old stuff. And
Maybe that's why.
especially with shoes. Like,
Well, but if shoes are in good condition, save me them. Save me them J's. I want them J's.
yeah.
But the reality is kids don't take care of shoes, and their feet grow so fast, so that
Super fast.
doesn't really matter anyway. So,
Caitlin had about 2 pairs of shoes she could fit after we went through her closet.
yeah.
It was something like that. We had to like get rid of all her shoes because she couldn't fit any of them.
I definitely think, though, speaking on, okay, so we've talked about like the oldest, being held to this higher standard and, parents having this higher expectations of your oldest for sure. I mean, I think with Kaylin, even though Savannah came to us first, and then Kaylin is still the oldest, and with the dynamic of it, Kaylin is the oldest. It's just the way they came to us was a little non-traditional. But I will say we do just in our own parenting hold Caitlin to those high standards. And I often remind her, your sister's looking up to you, you have to be a good role model, and sometimes I feel like I probably put too much pressure on her to be that great role model. And I have to remember that she is also a child herself. She is also learning. So I can understand, how, if you are watching or listening and you're like, well, I'm the oldest and yeah, I'm expected to be the role model, but I was a kid too. You know what I mean? And I'm learning kind of as I go too. I think as parents, now kind of understanding these dynamics, we have to be better, and not, forcing our kids essentially to go through some of the, I don't want to say traumatic, but in some sense traumatic experiences that we went through. That sounds really dramatic, I guess, but it just depends it depends on everyone. I feel like my relationships are with my family are very different probably than what I would want them to be, and I think a lot of that has to do with me feeling like I was treated differently. And of course, people will be like, you weren't treated differently, but it's like, okay, but I'm me and it's my perception, right? It's the way that I feel. And so I think it's a constant battle as we parent to ensure that we don't fall into the same traps that maybe we accuse our parents of falling into. You know what I mean, as well. Because in our dynamic of raising Kaylin and Savannah, two amazing little girls with very different personalities and also very different upbringings, ours is very different. Kaylin is someone who, of course, has a lot of trauma in her past and came to us when she was 4 years old, where Savannah we've had since birth. So Kaylin being, the oldest, yeah, we hold her to a very high standard that I don't necessarily feel like we always hold Savannah to. Would you agree?
Well, I do feel like Caitlin is held to a higher standard. But like I said, there's two dynamics. There's gender and age. Caitlin is older. So of course I'm gonna hold a 13-year-old to a higher standard than I'm gonna hold a 9-year-old to. The same way if Caitlin was a middle child and we had a 16-year-old, I'm gonna hold that 16-year-old to a higher standard than I'm gonna hold the 13-year-old to. So I think yes, we do hold Caitlin to a higher standard, but I also feel like we we hold Savannah to a standard too. But like it's not as high as Caitlin.
Savannah gets away.
But
Just even have this conversation. Savannah gets away with so much. When we go home today, I'm gonna be like, the rules have changed. The rules have changed, Savannah. You are about to be 10 years old. Give me your tablet.
well, well, Savannah acts like a baby, so
But she's the baby,
She
so that's
thinks-
why she acts that
okay.
way.
But see that's the confusion. She's the youngest. She's not a baby though.
I know.
She's the youngest.
She's my baby.
She's the youngest. She's not a baby. So she keeps hearing she's a baby. So she acts like one. We want her. No, you are our youngest child. You're not a baby. She's about to be 10 years old. So she should be treated like a 10-year-old.
I know, but she's the baby. And then
And
her
there you have the problem.
But see, her personality, and I will agree, she gets away with so much more. But with that also being said, they're very different, right? So the things that
You can't
get Kaylin in trouble are not the same things that get Savannah in trouble. But I will say, I mean, I think over the last couple of weeks, especially being away and being in Hawaii, and this is why it's so important to take a vacation away from your children. I really see this now more than any time before. I really see having a chance to just be away and breathe and think and like evaluate your life and where you are and where you want to be and all these things I was able to do while I was relaxing in Hawaii. And oh my God, my ADD has kicked in. I think my point is, what's my point?
I don't know. I'm sure you'll remember and you'll tell us.
What I will say though, overall, is I do realize that I have very high and sometimes unrealistic expectations for Kaylin, and I don't have those same expectations for Savannah. And as a mom, I definitely and I think all my friends are the same. Like naturally, the youngest is the baby, and you treat them as such, and they get Savannah gets so many passes that Kaylin does not get. However, that is going to change because I am going to treat them the same because I don't want them to grow up.
You can't treat them the same.
Well,
I
not
don't
the
even think that's
same, but what I'm
realistic.
saying is I mean, yes, I think the level of consequence has to be different and that has to match their age, right? But I do think that you can treat your kids the same, but understanding that they have different personalities and you know what I mean? But your influence in their life can be the same. They're correcting them and stuff. Yes, the consequences are more severe the older you are. And we tell Kaylin that all the time. Like, you don't listen to us, you don't listen to us, you don't listen to us. But then that turns into you not listening to your teachers at school. You don't listen to your parents, you don't listen to your teachers. You don't listen to your teachers, you don't listen to the principal. You don't listen to the principal, what's the next step? The police? You know what I mean? So there has to be, it just has to click at some point, And I think it's starting to click. I definitely think it's starting to click. But I do find myself at times being more patient with Savannah than with Kaylin. And I think that's because of age. And that's what it is. I think I have more patience for some of Savannah's mistakes and bad decisions than I have for Kaylin's because we've taught both of them, right from wrong. And
She's a teenager now, so
yeah.
She's not gonna get that same leeway as a 9-year-old. I mean, Savannah will be 10 this December, so she's old enough now. Savannah definitely knows right from wrong and should be held accountable. But a teenager is definitely going to be held to a higher standard than a 9-year-old.
Well, yeah, I mean, she has more freedom. Kaylin can pretty much do anything that she wants within reason. As long as she does the things that she's supposed to do because we trust her because she's older and
Yeah, as
You
long
know?
as long as Kay does what she's supposed to do, she's not gonna hear my mouth. And we've told them that before. You are in control of your destiny. The amount of freedom you have is based on your behavior. You behave well, Daddy is not gonna say nothing.
Well, I behave well, and I need a new Louis because I haven't got one since my 40th birthday.
That rule was only for the kids. That was not for Aaron. But,
I mean, I behave.
okay. Are you gonna call me Daddy?
Oh God. Okay. So anyway, I have some questions.
Oh,
I got some questions for you.
deflecting.
Am I gonna call him Daddy? What? Anyway, okay. So I have some questions. So if you're watching or you're listening, I know we asked you guys to like send us a message and stuff, but I want to know, like, okay, so if you're a parent, do you feel that you treat your kids differently? So one, let us know, send us a message or drop it in the comments and let us know. Number one, how many kids do you have? If you don't have any kids, how many siblings you have and where you fall in your sibling count. And then two, if you're the oldest, what are your feelings on what we just discussed? Do you agree that the eldest, oh my gosh, I'm having such a hard time. Do you feel that the oldest are held to a higher standard and treated differently? If you're the middle child, do you feel like middle child syndrome is a thing? And if you're the baby, do you feel that you just got to do whatever you wanted? Or if you are to KC's point, if you're a boy or girl sibling, or if you have boys and girls, y'all get what I'm trying to say. Just weigh in on this topic because I would love to like follow up and talk to you about this, jump in our DMs or whatever, because I think that this is an interesting topic and an interesting dynamic. I also think that, you have a lot of, this can go into a whole totally different episode, but you have a lot of families. This is a question I have. I have a lot of friends who are like, I want more kids and my husband doesn't. Or you have husbands, I want more kids, but my wife says that, no, her legs is closed. Like, how do you proceed with that, right? Like, so yeah, maybe that's a topic for a different episode. But yeah, I would love like for this to be more than an A and B conversation because I think that
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah, we've had.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are because it's very interesting and just to see how different families handle different scenarios. So please chime in.
All right.
No, I'm actually kind of curious.
Good job, Daddy.
Oh, there you go. You might get that Louis after all. Okay.
All right, so don't forget, jump in the DMs, send us a message, comment down below, whatever you're gonna do. Let's have a bigger conversation about this, and let's just see what you guys think.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Please hit us up on all our social media. Please like, share, subscribe, rate, do all those good things, and look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you.
Bye.